Welcome to a quick sound check for Quantum Eraser. So I'm just going to run through some of my compressor settings in OBS so that Quantum Eraser can hopefully replicate them to improve the sound quality on Discord. So if I transition across to TV and webcam, how's that looking? Not bad. Okay, so what I'm going to show you on here is my filter settings. So down here on this cog, I'm going to go to Filters. And in filters, we've got an expander, a gain, compressor 1, compressor 2, and limiter. So I'm going to talk you through what each one does. An expander is kind of the opposite of a compressor. So it's expanding things out, but it can expand things up or it can expand things down. Now in OBS, you've got a downward expander, which means that if you've got something that comes in that is below this threshold, that'd be minus 50 dB, then it's going to expand it down, if that makes sense. In other words, make it quieter. So it's kind of the opposite of what a compressor does. It's an expander. So here are my settings, just so you can replicate them if you want to. Next, I've got gain, which if you're adept at setting your mic gain on an interface or on a mic preamp, you just turn up your gain till you reach a point where even if you try and overload the preamp itself, it won't overload. And from there, you start adding your gain inside OBS and matching it to a nice output level, which for me is 12.5 dB. From there, I've then got my first compressor, which runs at 1.5 to 1 and starts at a threshold of minus 23 dB. In other words, before minus 23 dB, it will do nothing, and then anything above that threshold, it will compress at a rate of 1.5 to 1. Attack point, 4 milliseconds, release 170 odd milliseconds, and there's no output gain added at this stage. If there's anything even more drastic, I then have a second compressor, which runs at a ratio of 2.5 to 1, and that comes in at a threshold of minus 16 dB, as you can see here. So that comes in if there's anything even louder. So I've got sort of stacked or staggered, I don't know how you'd call it, the staging of these two compressors, but basically one compressor followed by another compressor just to make things a bit smoother. You can just run one if you've got limited processing power and maybe run it at, I don't know, 6 to 1 or something. But yeah, I'd rather have it a bit more subtle, so hence I've got two, as I'm not exactly short of processing power. Last but by no means least is just a hard wall limiter. So it's sort of like a compressor. It just works on an infinite ratio. So it compresses everything right the way down beyond this point. So I think in OBS 0 is the limit for digital clipping. Therefore, I've set it at 1.5 below that. So anything that reaches this point can't clip. So even if I go into... just show my output level. Even if I try and overload this, so loud, it's never going to actually reach 0 dB. And hopefully the output level on my preamp, which is an Evo 4, Audient Evo 4, that shouldn't overload either. So essentially, as loud as I can go in this position, I could definitely overload it if I tried to get closer to the microphone, but typically if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to lean back as opposed to forward. But I can't overload it. Even if I try to, it shouldn't be clipping, but this should hopefully be a test of that. But I've recently upped the output gain, so it's a little bit higher. Other than that, not much has changed in terms of my settings. So let's just transition back to my webcam so I can do a little outro. The other thing that people might be unaware of is I've upgraded my microphone. So this is now my new microphone, as my Yeti was on its last legs. This is a... So can I show the label? Doesn't look like I can get it in shot there. Oh well. It's a Rode NTG3B. For anybody who's interested, the B just stands for black. So yeah, it's a shotgun microphone or a short shotgun microphone. And yeah, that's it. That's my new microphone going into, as I said, an Audient Evo 3, and then into the PC, into Voice Meter Banana, and then on into OBS. So there are various different things I do in Voice Meter Banana as well in terms of leveling up the various different lines that come into the show, although I'm not going to go through that on this particular occasion. So that's going to be it from me. Can I actually do an outro? If I can, I will. There we go. Bye.